go. Train time. Where go?
Gentlemen, this school is about combat. There are no points for second place.
This is the Never Down, Never Out podcast with your host, T.R. Matson.
Welcome back. Good morning, everybody. I hope you're having a great day. I really do. I'm still trying to get used to this new studio experience. It looks like everything's recording. Fingers crossed, because I get on my soapboxes, as you know, if you've watched me on other podcasts, and it would break my heart to put out such valuable thoughts and then have to redo it. It wouldn't be as good. So hope you're having a great morning this morning. I hope June is treating you well. I hope the weather's well, not getting too many storms. It's summertime, which comes with it a lot of craziness, especially if you have kids. Sports went from baseball to swim now, and work is crazy. Podcasting's crazy. I have a direction for writing for all the people that keep asking me. I thought the craziest thing happened the other day. I had two separate people reach out to me within an hour about book 3. Completely separate channels of my life. And I'm like, is this somebody trying to push me? Give me a sign. And I do think it is. And the reason I say that is because I started this whole thing as an author, right? I started this whole thing with Treason Flight, and then it became Vengeance Flight, and then it became going into the Never Down, Never Out, and now here we are podcasting, and it's like, well, you still have to think about what you are from the beginning, right? Sorry. I have to wait on a phone call. I've been waiting on a phone call, and I hope it doesn't. I normally turn my phone off and just focus, so I apologize. So again, I thought that was very interesting that two aspects, very different aspects of my life, reached out to me about the book. So I have a plan for it. Once I get going, I usually write it pretty quickly. You know, Mover and I have talked about this. If you sat down and just did it, you could realistically, if you know what you're doing, from word 1 to the end in about 2 months. So, and I'm further along than that. So I'm trying. I'm not putting a date out. I don't want to waste anybody's time by putting out a poor product. So I'm trying. There's a lot of irons in the fire right now, and it gets very busy and sometimes overwhelming, and sometimes I need a little bit of a break. So, but none of that is today. Today is coming with maybe I do need a break. Whew, maybe that last trip hit me harder than I thought. Today we're going to talk about identity and how your identity drives your actions. Who you are as an individual drives what you do, which is why yesterday we talked about the importance of who you're becoming. Because if you don't know who you're becoming, then you really don't know the kind of things you're going to do, right? And that's pretty critical. So it's important in this world, as we change, as we try to become better versions of ourselves, right? Because that's ultimately the goal here, is to continue to march down a path where tomorrow I'm always better than yesterday, and I just keep building on that momentum. Now, is that realistic? Of course it's not realistic. We're going to have setbacks. We talked about that in the last section, but it's important to do those checks on who you are becoming, because who you're becoming is going to drive your future actions. Let me give you an example. We had my E2 squadron, okay? Little C story for you. I know people like those. They would say, and I saw this more in a multi-crew squadron, E2 squadron, vice the Hornet squadron. Hornet squadron is a lot smaller. Single seat squadron, a lot less air crew. I did not notice this as much. But when I was in my E2 squadron, I was told that the relationship of the junior officers, so the ensigns, lieutenant JGs, lieutenants, 03 and below, If they were strong, it was a good squadron. And if there was a lot of riffs and a lot of clicks in that, then it was a weak squadron. And oftentimes, if you had a weak commanding officer, your junior officers were very strong because they bound together. Now, I don't want to say against, but in some degree, it's the misery loves company type of thing. But conversely, if you had a very strong commanding officer, sometimes you would have rifts in the junior officers because that personality, while they tried to make it better for everybody, would often isolate some. So in my experience in the E2, we had a very strong JO Corps. You can do the math on commanding officer. And it varied. I mean, I was there 3 years. It varied. We had some very strong commanding officers and executive officers, and we had some others. But at any rate, there was a lot of, while we were all banded together, there was a lot of negativity going on. We had maintenance issues. We were deploying like crazy. So, it certainly was the misery loves company. And I remember one of the NFOs, fantastic guy, but it was almost like he was getting consumed by the negativity. You sit around the wardroom, you're only telling the negative stories. You're not enjoying your time there. You're missing home. There's probably some rifts there because you're gone so much. All of these things. And one day, we're sitting there at breakfast. I remember it vividly. We're sitting there at breakfast, and he had been quiet, and he looks up and he goes, "Those are the best eggs I've eaten all day." And the whole table kind of looked at him like, "What?" And he had been consumed, like most of us, by the negativity that was around us. And we're like, "What?" And finally, somebody's like, "Dude, did you eat another breakfast today? Like, what are you talking about?" He goes, "No. This is my first breakfast." He goes, "But they're the best eggs I've eaten all day." And everybody kind of like, "Yeah, whatever, dude, whatever." But then he started doing that more and more. That was the best flight I had all day. It was his only flight. That was the best email I've read all day. It was the first email. That was the best night's sleep I got all night. Stuff like that. But what I noticed is he started becoming, even when he wasn't being ironic and sarcastic with his positivity, he started becoming more positive. The enlisted guys and girls that he was in charge of started doing better. So his identity, while he originally did it sarcastically, was actually changing in a positive light. And not only was it changing in a positive light, it was affecting those around him because it kind of became the squadron joke, right? Come back and you have a landing as a pilot and you get a no grade because it was a bad landing. It's still the best landing you've had all day, right? Plane breaks because of a maintenance issue and you can't go fly. It's still the best aircraft you had all day, right? So it started the ripple effect of positivity in the squadron. And within a few months, it was noticeable. And it brought the junior officers together. And it helped us deal with all of the things we were dealing with. And I think we were all stronger because of it. All because of he noticed how he was acting and tried in a funny way to fix that. And it worked. So yesterday's message was extremely important because it's important to understand who you're becoming so you know how your identity is going to change how you act and how it's going to affect those people around you. And if you don't do that from time to time, and if we're trying to make big changes in our lives, if we've got big things going on and we're really trying to make some drastic life changes, I recommend you do those gut checks more often. You take a look at them more often, take a hard look at who you're becoming, go, is this where I want to be? Is this the person I want to be? Is this how I want people to look at me? Yes or no? But even the people that are kind of on cruise control, right? They've found their path, they found their road, they know what they're doing, what direction they're going, what their goals are. I still recommend taking a look at yourself and being honest with yourself. Are you the person you want to be? Are you the person that's driven by the correct things that when you look in the mirror, you're proud of that? Because your future actions will be dictated by that. 100%. If you become cynical, if you become negative, if you become selfish, you will then do negative, cynical, and selfish things. And often, if gone unchecked, we become this whole different version of ourselves that you don't even recognize. You look yourself in the mirror and you're like, who the heck is that? When did that happen? And I think it is critical at this stage in everything that we're talking about that you understand that who you are defines what you do more than you realize. So today, as you listen to this and tune in, I hope you're having a fantastic morning. I genuinely do. But give me some examples. Tell me the type of person you are and give me an example of what actions that has caused. Positive and negative, because we can learn from both. And if it's positive, let me know. Read your own press a little bit. Give yourself a pat on the back. But again, take a good hard look at those actions. And if those actions and what you're doing are negatively based actions, it might be time to start from the source. Hope that makes sense. See you tomorrow.
T.R. Matson is a 20-year Navy career combat veteran who flew the E-2C Hawkeye and F/A-18C Hornet. He's the author of Treason Flight and Vengeance Flight. You can reach him at trmatson or trmatson.com. Thanks for listening to the Never Down, Never Out podcast.